Okay. Excellent. Well, good morning. How's it going over there?
Good. How are you doing?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. It might kind of bleep in and out if we lose connection. Hopefully it doesn't. We might have to tinker through it. So sometimes our internet, especially if storm goes through, it just kind of it's hit and miss over here on that. So hopefully internet plays nice today and we're able to get through the chat.
Cool.
On there. All right, so I'm glad to have you on, actually.
Well, thank you. Glad to be here. It's an honor.
Can you hear me? Excellent. So let's get to know you a little bit. We have Apoku. Good morning. We have we have Jazzy. Good morning, everyone. We have a few loyal people coming in. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Where you're at with your jiu-jitsu, location, age, and then what do you do for a living?
Yep, you got it. All right, so I am living here in the Outer Banks, North Carolina, in Kill Devil Hills. So way on the East Coast, small little beach town that has now been inundated with thousands of tourists once they opened up after the virus kind of stopped. I'm 47. I started training jiu-jitsu, 2011. So this November will be 9 years. Let me see what else. I am a community mental health therapist. Been doing that for about 23 years now, I believe. Mostly public sector, for an outpatient clinic down here. So just really enjoy that. Besides jiu-jitsu, love going to the beach, surfing, sea glass hunting, and proud fur mom of 2 dogs.
Gotcha. So people are they're able to hear you, but on my end, you're kind of jumping in and out. So if I miss stuff, I apologize. It probably can hear you on your end, so keep speaking. I might try to, what I'll do is read the caption on my phone to follow up. So trying to figure out how to work through this on here. Yeah, Poku says he used to teach children with autism. Can you tell us about your shirt?
Oh, absolutely. So my husband and I volunteer for this every year. It's Surfing for Autism. It is an event, actually it's usually nationwide. Different areas have it. We hold it down here at Jeanette's Pier in Nags Head. It's where it allows children with autism to experience surfing. We have surfboards, and they're done in tandem, so they're with somebody else. We also have ones with chairs.
He says he used to teach children with autism. Can you tell us about your shirt?
My husband and I like to just volunteer, give back.
Sorry.
Way to kind of help out the community.
Sorry, it's delaying over here.
Oh, no problem.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
You're frozen. So, sorry. Trying to see if you can hear me.
Yep, I can hear you. Can you hear me now?
Okay, I can hear you in and out. So, you might have said it, and if I missed it, I apologize because the internet connection is. So, did you say, are you a purple belt?
Yes, I'm a purple belt. I got my purple belt. It's been about 1.5 years now. It'll be 2 years this November.
Okay, nice. So what made you get into jiu-jitsu?
Actually, it's kind of a true story. So I was doing kickboxing and they had just started to do a women's class in jiu-jitsu. And so I decided to give it a try. I just healed up from surgery to address the issue with cancer. Got early, so I figured I was 40, kind of thought something different. So I tried the women's class a couple times, mostly girlfriends, and then I started doing the adult classes a little bit, and that's just got me hooked.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay. Just testing. I'm switching over to my hotspot, see if that works, because
Okay.
it's like really choppy on my end. So I'm missing everything you're saying on here. Hold on. I'm trying to see if I can get this. I think I'm maybe on the right connection.
Okay.
Trying to see. You're still frozen on my end.
Ooh, okay, because you're totally fine on my end.
It's here. Let me see if I can. Yeah, let me see if I can change it to my. Change it to my connection. It's pushing through. Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Hello?
Is it any better? You're totally fine on my end.
Okay. Okay. We do have some, if you guys can hear us, let us know. And if you can help me out, if you have any questions for her, just to kind of help try to flow this through, push your questions through. I know Puku's on. He's got a question. Maybe, let's see what he says. Cancer can definitely hold people back when it comes to trying to get back in shape. Tell us about the rehabilitation process.
Sure. Actually, it probably was about 6 weeks after surgery. I was just able to start walking and just kind of doing different things like that. And then I slowly, once I got cleared, doctors that rode bikes too, just something that was kind of non-strenuous, unfortunately not aerobic a lot of times. And then I slowly, I got back into doing some of the kickboxing. And then that's when I got introduced, like I said, to the women's class of jiu-jitsu, which at that point was mostly drilling because we were all new to it, didn't know what we were doing. Had a very patient purple belt who was very nice with us and, very kind with, putting up with a lot of our white beltness in the beginning, and had a lot of giggling going on then too. So that's why I just really just kind of took it slow, and then just was able to I'm not the best patient when it comes to things either. So I pushed myself a little too much with that. Fortunately, the outcome's always been okay. So that's kind of tried to listen a little more to what people are encouraging me. But it's pretty much a slow process and just kind of listen to my body. And, it took time when things just didn't feel right or and was able to push myself and things felt okay.
Sorry, I'm still hearing it choppy on my end, but I do have people saying they can hear both of us on their end.
Okay.
So I'm going to do my best to allow people to ask questions if you can hear me. And if you can hear her, just keep asking questions. As far as I do have some questions during these times. So when I'm observing through in other women's group, their questions, and I'm just observing within the jiu-jitsu committee, especially with either, I don't know if you dealt with anyone within like the sexual assault, domestic violence, or during these times where with post-traumatic with, whether it's, lost you, whether it's like post-traumatic from just traumatic from either sexual assault or even from losing somebody, especially during, some veterans during these times, veteran families. And so can you let us cue us in on how some of the people you work with within your profession?
Sure. It is very challenging, and just try to be very present, do a lot of grounding techniques, a lot of mindfulness, a lot of body awareness. I've had the opportunity to train with some men and women, veterans and sexual assault survivors in jiu-jitsu, and they have found that very helpful, especially with learning to master a lot of some of the triggers that can come up for them, with a lot of the breathing, is a huge one for a lot of folks, learning to kind of work through some of the triggers and stimulus through breathing. Also, a lot of feeling empowered through jiu-jitsu. I know that's one thing jiu-jitsu has definitely given me, is a sense of empowerment, especially as a smaller female, an older female too, in the community, a confidence to kind of feel that I can work through something. And that's something I've heard a lot of people that I with who've experienced both, is that the ability that they can get through something, that they can work through something in that moment. So a lot of that, is worked through as far as, therapy, we do that too, working through, sitting with the feeling, working through the feeling. And that, again, translates to jiu-jitsu perfect. When you're under somebody's side control or mount, you're working through that initial feeling of panic that we all had when we first started, and breathing and calming, and then being able to work towards escape or work towards the next move. It's similar with counseling, learning to breathe, learning to sit with the feeling, learning to work through that into the next moment.
Hello?
Yep, still here. Can you, probably that delay.
Okay. All right. So I can hear you in and out. Looks like you, right now on my end, I can hear a little choppiness in having you go in and out, but I'm sure other people can still hear us. So we're going to just kind of move through this as best as we can. And I'm just going to kind of sit here quiet, just and then if you might have to, when you're done, you might just wave. That way I do have some questions I want to go through. So we might do some sign language on
That'll
here.
work.
So for people who, I don't know if you're able to maybe point us in the right direction of, there are some people, that might have gone through some domestic violence, sexual assault, that for one, they can, depending on what stage and who they're dealing with, whether it's an intimate relationship or someone outside of that, there are people that are able to fight back during the moment, and there are people that aren't. Mm-hmm. So maybe talk about maybe some of the people you've worked with to help work through people who aren't able to fight during that moment, how you're able to work people through that process. And it could be just within that moment, whatever they're dealing with, protecting their kids. Mm-hmm. And then what else? I mean, there's so many factors that keep them from freezing up, or maybe they're just surviving, if you're seeing what, so hopefully you understand my question.
Yeah, I think I do. So a lot of folks I know that have that sense, because our body does go into that fight, flight, or freeze when we're in a very traumatic situation. And for some folks that feel the ability to fight back, again, it's almost that neurological response of just wanting just to, get out, but a lot of women I know feel trapped on a lot of different levels, not just physically, but a lot of times it can be monetarily. It can be, feeling that environmentally that they don't have any other place to go. So what I try to do is empower them with choice and letting them, again, feel empowered through choice and providing them with resources so they don't feel that they have to stay in that particular situation or that they are controlled, whether, again, it's not just physically, but again, emotionally, monetarily, sexually, environmentally, they don't feel like there's another place to go. And also socially, a lot of them feel very isolated, feel very trapped in that sense. And again, trying to expose them to different resources, supports, and just even being the person to listen a lot of times can help somebody feel heard, because a lot of times, again, through that isolation, that they don't feel anyone is hearing them or listening to them, and that in itself can be very powerful for somebody in that kind of situation.
Looks like you're done. So we have a question from Apoku, and I'll jump back and forth on Apoku's question. Do you find that men are super embarrassed to come out when they experience assault? How easy is it to get them to open up about it?
Ooh, a good question. A lot of times can be very challenging because a lot of men don't even recognize it as abuse or assault. In a way, they kind of minimize it to a degree. I think some because of the shame, some because of embarrassment, or some because I think a lot of them don't see it in that regard. So it just through developing the relationship and just again trying to create an environment where people just feel safe talking a lot of times can help them with feeling more at ease about talking and kind of reframing some things and seeing that some of the behavior is not okay or is abuse that they're experiencing can be very helpful for them too, to help encourage them to talk and to open up about it and then to accept help as well. So I'll wave again. I do sign language.
You still there? I'm sorry.
Yep. Oh, no.
So let me jump back to jiu-jitsu a little bit. Tell us about your family. Are you married? Do you have any kids?
Oh, sure. Yep. Married. Going on 12 years now. Don't have any children, but I have two fur kids, two little dogs, a Boston and a Frenchie. Frenchie's right next to me sleeping, as a matter of fact. And he does not train. We do surf together. He says he has enough joints that hurt. They just want to try training. But he's super supportive of my training, which I really, really appreciate. And there's never been a question on his mind of me not training. He's definitely listens to the days I have good times on the mat, days I got bad times. And he's super supportive of my competition too. When he's come to watch me compete, he's just, again, just cringing sometimes at some of the positions we get into, but very supportive and proud of me. So I appreciate that about him.
That's awesome that they're are definitely super supportive of you in doing jiu-jitsu. Have you competed before?
I have. Never actually. When I first started, terrified of competing. I'm not a competitive person by any stretch of the imagination. Anyone I can train with, the old joke. So I do it to challenge myself. And I remember being my first competition. I think it was a 2-stripe white belt, local U.S. grappling around here, and I was terrified. But thankfully, the woman I went against was also older. I think she's about maybe just 2 or 3 years younger than me. So it was a positive experience. So I competed, I think, a few more times as a blue belt. Did go to Masters Worlds in 2018. Lost first match, but again, just anytime I see myself stepping on that mat, I'm proud of myself for the challenge, doing it. Unfortunately, I had more plans to compete even more so this year, and actually signed up for some local tournaments and planned on going back to Masters Worlds. But of course, the virus, canceled a lot of those plans and tournaments. But when things do open back up and I'm able to start training a little more, I do plan on continuing to compete. I see it more of a challenge myself. A lot of times in local tournaments too, and even in some IBJFF, I'm Masters 4. So finding, 135 Masters 4, I don't really get it around here. So the majority of the people are anywhere from like 20 to 25 years younger. But I do appreciate, the matches and, being able to just step out there and do my best and learning, always learning.
That's awesome. That you use competition to continue to explore and learn as you grow from there. I do have a question from Jazzy. How often do you train jiu-jitsu, and does your spouse, significant other also train?
Sure. Typically, well, pre-COVID, because right now the gym's closed. Train anywhere from probably about 3 to 4 times a week. They offer classes 3 times a week and then open mat. He does not train. My husband does not, but he's, again, super supportive of me training. And even when I increase my training for prepare for a competition, sometimes I'll travel. Because we're pretty isolated here in the Outer Banks. Like I said, we're a smaller beach community. So there's more academies that we're affiliated with, as we're a Hebero affiliate up in the Virginia Beach area. And that's about an hour and a half, hour, 45 minutes away. So sometimes I will travel up there to train. And he, again, totally supportive, doesn't mind me taking a weekend day to be away from us to do that. So I'm very fortunate with that. So what I've been doing recently so again, our academy training, I tried running. Ugly, was not pretty, and not a runner. So fortunately, with the jiu-jitsu community online, I've been able to find some online workouts, specifically Sophia McDermott workouts are fantastic to do. So I've been doing those regularly, and some other ones that the girls and geese have been doing. I've been able to do them as well to help try to keep up some kind of conditioning and some kind of mobility too, before we can all go back on the mats.
That's awesome that you're able to continue with some conditioning and mobility drills on the mat, for sure. As far as that's another thing, as trying to do things within the quarantine and so forth. How is it in North Carolina? Have you guys opened up yet? Or how's that the opening over there coming along?
Strict here, it's called a phase 1. Pretty much restaurants can have like 50% capacity. So what's going on right now in North Carolina, gyms are considered, I think, entertainment. So that's under phase 3, I want to say. And there's been a big push for a lot of gym owners to be opened up. Some have offered to do offered protocols such as, getting social safe distancing as far as with training, having marked spaces, because any gym whatsoever can open up. I think they're able to do outdoor classes, providing they honor social distancing. But that's been about it around here. So it looks like probably not till maybe towards the end of June. Does it look like that will be then start to open up any kind of gyms, unless if something changes due to the pressure that people have been trying to organize and have with our governor here.
Gotcha. As far as what are some of the things you're learning within this quarantine times?
Patience for one, and flexibility. I kind of like routines, and I had a routine where I would, come home from work, do things, go to class, train, come home. So there are certain things that, I would do, weight training, start a weight training program too, to kind of help with strength. So definitely learning to be patient and flexible, with both work and working out. With my job as an outpatient mental health therapist, we definitely had to change everything we're doing, even though we're still open brick and mortar. As the governor asked us to stay open in case of crisis, we changed to telehealth, which I'm not technical or IT, so changing and working within that was definitely challenging. And that is a change too, because which system would work better? What's the best platform to do it on? Some of my patients don't have the technology, either their phones or at home, the resources to do it. So being flexible, doing phone calls with them, and just being more present, because things are constantly changing. Information's constantly changing. What we're able to do is changing. So just learning how just to kind of be flowing with the change, and like I said, being flexible and patient with it is definitely something I can totally say that I have learned throughout this process. Is even with my jiu-jitsu work and even in private life, everything just constant change with this.
Sorry, I'm reading what as you're talking. I can't hear you, so I'm improvising. So I'm reading the caption through my phone, and it has a little bit of delay. So I'm trying to read what I'm saying. Some questions here. Let's see. Let me jump through. I appreciate everyone who's jumping on to ask questions. It helps with the live stream, especially my end when I can't really hear. But you guys can hear both of us. When it comes to competition, what tournaments have been your favorite?
Oh, okay. I did have a positive experience with Masters Worlds. I did appreciate having. I thought the venue was very good. It definitely. I did not feel it being intimidating at all. But I would have to say we have a local tournament around here called U.S. Grappling. I know they do it in North Carolina, Virginia, and Maryland, and I think they've been the best run tournaments I've experienced. And I know the people who run them really, Chrissy Lindsay specifically, her and her husband, do a great push with encouraging women. Because I know a lot of women don't sign up for tournaments or kind of hesitant about it, but they've been very encouraging and supportive with women in jiu-jitsu, and specifically women in competition. So that's probably my favorite. And that was one I think I was going to sign up for two, one in the spring and then one later in the summer. But of course, again, with the virus, they had to cancel them.
I'm going to jump through some of these comments. She has great workouts. Yes, she does. Excellent. Yes, for sure. I have E-Kane on. Good morning. She is actually, sorry, we're going to cover our face for a second. E-Kane's from Australia, so it's like midnight over there, 12:30. So she said, I had a rough childhood and still taking a toll on my mental health now. I just started jiu-jitsu, and it definitely helped overcome my thoughts of being not good enough and achieving my best self. So grateful to hear you talk about your journey. I'm inspired to keep training. So yeah, thank you, Stephanie, for jumping on. One of the main reasons why we have people come on is just to kind of tell those stories, because we've all struggled, either, in our past, currently. So there's definitely struggles that we're going through on that. So thank you for being on. Poku asks, he's asking all of us, how do you get more women come to jiu-jitsu class? Can you please write and state?
If anyone's got to answer that one, I'm open to it. I tried even doing a women's class. Gosh, I think it was a couple years ago at the gym, and it was just a struggle. So I am open to suggestions with that one. I'm fortunate I have one other woman I train with who comes pretty regularly, and she also got promoted at the same time. And we actually went to Masters Worlds together, Nancy. So I was really fortunate. I'm fortunate to have that training partner, but it's hard to, I think, for a lot of times we see a lot of women start and they get really into it, but then I don't know if life happens and then they just kind of, don't come back or kind of trickle on out. So yeah, I'm open to hearing about that too. I love training with women. I think we bring something different to the table than guys, and I really appreciate any chance I can get training with women specifics. That's why I like going to like girls and geese events or women's only open mats just to help get that.
Yeah, I think those are all valid points as far as, try to provide women events, open mats, maybe a specific women's class, because women are typically they tend to gravitate towards women. That's holding the event. So if you have a women's class specifically, maybe once a week, and then slowly kind of funnel them through into once they start to build confidence, it's more so trying to reduce their insecurities in many ways and increasing their confidence level to slowly start to branch out and and then taking other classes. So that's my viewpoint, and also constantly trying to find ways to encourage women in many ways, because I think for me when I was younger, actually back in from younger to about college times, anytime I have some male coach, I had some male coach that was and it was just different coaches and different styles. But for me, I gravitate more towards any coach that is authentic, sincere, and is compassionate and encouraging. And I steer away and I shut down. I shell up anytime a coach becomes negative or yells at me, stuff like that. So the coaching style and the persona plays a role, if that makes sense, in helping to bring women into jiu-jitsu. So Jazzy, Kane, I don't know what your thoughts on that and what helps you want to take classes. Because I know you guys ladies are still young in doing that. So that's my take on that. I'm going to jump back a little bit, unless you all have some more questions. Apoku asks, when it comes to abuse and child protective service, how many complaints of abuse does it take to remove a child from the home?
Good question. Sometimes it can be the first one. It depends on what's going on, but also unless it's like blatant, marks. I know if it's a dangerous situation, such as an active domestic violence situation where the police were called, or if substances were involved, such as alcohol or any other drugs, then a lot of times it is immediate removal. If it's more complaints such as neglect, or those can be a lot harder and a lot more subjective, I hate to say. Thankfully, I don't have to deal as being the one to make that decision. I think it's a very tough one. I do know that I am obligated in my license, as I'm a licensed clinical social worker, that if I have any thoughts or hints that there might be abuse, and I'm legally obligated to report, and I do, and I have, and I look at it as the safety of the person, the child, the home. It's something that I just feel strongly about too. So, like I said, thankfully I'm not in that position where I have to go in and make those decisions, but I do know as a clinician, if I do have any thoughts of that, I definitely am quick to make a phone call and to help, for the safety of the situation.
Cool. So I'm going to, I'm jumping around a little bit. and because I'm trying to get through some of the questions that they have, and I do have some questions on my own. So, what are some of the things, since you're a purple belt, you've been in a few years, and there are some beginners that's on here, and I always like to hear other people's take on their jiu-jitsu journey. So, what are some of the things that's helped you learn jiu-jitsu? What is like a specific focus, either now or actually before pre-quarantine, that you've been focusing on to help you retain or learn jiu-jitsu, that in a manner, because there's certain like focus that you focus on or philosophies that you might take away, if that makes any sense. So how do you grasp jiu-jitsu?
Sure. In the beginning, it was hard. It was very, very hard because a lot of it is very counterintuitive. In learning just to be comfortable in uncomfortable situations, that's very, very challenging. Especially that time, I was one of the only women training, and again, being smaller and older with a lot of the younger, bigger, more athletic guys is very, very challenging. So so for me, I take notes. I have a notebook, and that helps me kind of after class. I'll write down some techniques or maybe concepts. I like concepts as well. And there are things that kind of I are like light bulb moments. When I see a concept, I'm like, oh, okay, and that's something that grasps, that sticks with me. Also repetition. I'm a driller. I like drilling. I did make a dummy out of pool noodles. So I've been fortunate enough to drill with that, certain things that I do. Also, I can watch videos, but competition videos have been helpful. Watching certain competition videos, as I see the moves as they happen live, and that just, again, a visual, it sticks with me. And then also, like I said, just the repetition of drilling has just been very helpful. And talking to a lot of people too is helpful as far as some of the things that they use and suggestions. I know one big thing, and I've been working more on this a little pre-COVID, is going in and saying, okay, that's the move I'm going to work on this month. I'm going to work on either scissor sweep from close guard. That's it. Or I'm going to work on maintaining mount, or maintaining back, or and working or escaping. I'm getting a bad situation and work on escaping the mount. So that really is something I've been working on a little more specifically pre-COVID. It's just having one thing to focus on that month, and that's my theme, and that's what I'm just going to practice.
That's actually great stuff you shared, especially working on getting out of bad position. If you even have, I was thinking about that, if you're able to get with, if you have someone at home or a training partner that doesn't really know jiu-jitsu very well, and that's another thing that Professor Jen Russell talked about with having family classes that doesn't know anyone that doesn't know jiu-jitsu, they can they can be in side control, and you can learn how to just kind of escape side control. You can have them wrapped around behind your back, learning how to get out a rear naked choke defense, mounts and stuff like that. So it's a good time to start to learn escapes. I think is another way to start drilling if you don't really have a training partner that can really move. It'd be good just to work on positional stuff right now and drilling, not only escapes, and then also having them be there. You can pass their guard or so forth, but just some good stuff. Good information there. Appreciate you sharing that. So as far as moving on, what would you, and we're going to kind of close out, and if anyone else has some last minute questions, let me know. If I missed something, I apologize. Sometimes the live stream doesn't push all the questions or comments through. But what would you, what would be like a positive, especially during these times, a positive message, mantra, philosophy, or even a quote that you like to share others today?
Oh, so I like from Dory, just keep swimming, meaning never give up, just keep showing up. And that's just something that has helped me, you know, in my jiu-jitsu, even the hard times in the beginning. You know, I've worked through injuries. Sometimes I'd be there in the beginning of the parking lot going, do I really want to go in and do this? Knowing, again, it'd be, you know, struggle, and then just keep showing up. Yeah, just keep swimming, keep showing up. And it gets a little better and a little better and a little better. And even some days I think are going to be the worst days training end up being my best. So that's why, and it's even with this, you know, just keep doing it, keep moving forward, whatever it is you can do to help you with this, and just, you know, keep showing up in your journey. You know, and our journeys are kind of looking different with this whole COVID, obviously, and the restrictions, and being able to do, you know, just keep focusing can be very helpful, especially for the new people. Just don't give up.
Awesome. Appreciate that. Yeah, definitely some great advice there. As far as Jazzy say, great advice. Thank you. Yes. And we have people on here. So for that, everyone, before I forget, happy Memorial Day, everyone. Thank you for everyone who's has tuned in. And then thank you for everyone who served and sacrificed themselves for our freedom. So we appreciate that. Oh, thank you, Chastity, for tuning in on here. Hopefully one of these days we'll get you doing a little bit of jiu-jitsu. I know we have some people that hasn't been doing it, but there are we're influencing in some way, shape or fashion. So from there, let's go ahead and kind of dance out a little bit. You can have your own jiggy with it move if you want. And I'm going to play this music, and hopefully you can hear it. And I'm going to turn this up. Can you hear that? You're frozen. Cool. Awesome. Oh, is that your doggy?
Yes, this is one of them. This is Lola.
I missed your doggy.
She was dancing with it.
That's awesome. I love it. Cool. Well, thank you so much for your time. And that's another thing. And I keep preaching because I cannot hear anything on my end. So it gave me a different perspective. I need to learn sign language. 2, I figure out a way to see what you're saying. It gives me another perspective of people who are audibly challenged, who can't hear. So just life lessons right now as I'm working through stuff. So I appreciate everyone who actually helped out in asking questions and being part of this, because without you guys, I would just be like, I don't know what to do. So appreciate it. Thank you all. Thank you for, before I forget, tonight, sorry, I don't want to take up too much of your time. Tonight, I will be doing a BJJ solo Facebook Live tonight inside my women's group. If you're not inside my women's group, make sure you tune in and join in on that to work off some of the memorial food. And then also I posted, I'm going to start a free Zoom BJJ fit class like in the afternoons at 2 p.m. Central Time for any of those. So make sure all you have to do is just go to that link, fill out that, just put your email, and it's going to give you all the information. That's going to save me time for one thing, because and then that way it's easier. You can access all the information of what's coming up from there. All right, everyone, you all have a happy Memorial Day. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you for your time, and thank you for allowing me to pick your brain. Appreciate you all. God bless.
Bye-bye.